You are now listening to the Mill Social Talks podcast, hosted by Leroy Viamille, Chicago's best and finest when it comes to real estate. Find your forever home with Mills Realty.
Thanks again, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Mill Social Talk podcast. Guys, we got this interview was so good, I had to bring him back. For those of you who have seen a couple episodes ago, maybe 2 or 3 episodes ago, you've met Mr. Freddy Martinez de Escobar. And so this episode is going to be a little bit different because I wanted to dive into his lifestyle. This episode, if you have anyone that has actually gone through some issues with the system, I need for you to go tell him, listen to Mr. Freddy, and how we'll get into how he gets his life back on track. We'll dig into his life over the next half an hour, if that's enough. If not, we'll do another half an hour or do another episode. But I want you to listen to this. So keep in mind, guys, this is the Mill Social Talk podcast. Please listen. Please go ahead and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts, and like us and leave us a comment. As we always say, we always bring you guys the best of the best people in the Chicagoland area, and we always bring you folks that are relevant to our discussion. So we're going to get right into it. And we're going to talk to Mr. Freddy. Again, Freddy Martinez Escobar. You've seen him on the last podcast. And we want to get back into it. But first, before we do anything, I want to recap what we've talked about. So for those of you who have listened to us before, let Freddy recap what we talked about. We talked about his painting, and we were sort of light. Yeah. We talked a little bit. So we got a little more intense.
Yeah, definitely. I think the last time we definitely smoothed it out a little bit.
We smoothed it out. We
had a different type of audience, different type of guests that obviously collaborated with us on the last podcast. So I think it definitely it was a different approach, right?
Different approach, absolutely.
Dialogue. So yeah, I definitely feel like this time might be able to get a little more raw, a little more detailed.
That's what I'm looking for. I want the folks that's listening to know who you are. Right? Yeah. So, first of all, let's recap what we talked. We talked about your painting. So, tell us a little bit about yourself first. So, for those who have not heard the first episode, reintroduce yourself to them.
Okay. Yeah. Well, what's up, world? How y'all doing out there? On the last podcast, if you guys didn't get a chance to go ahead and view the YouTube or hear the podcast, pretty much it was a brief introduction to my situation, my life, and where I came from, some of my life experiences, and it was pretty much from the level that I was incarcerated at a young age. At 18 years old, I was incarcerated for 15 years. I was given a 23-year sentence. It was later reduced to 18 years, and I did over 15 years of that 18-year sentence. So I just wanted to pretty much, I feel like I went through a lot of different obstacles as a child, and my upcoming, being raised by a single mom, and the things that I was introduced to as a youth, where I was introduced to a lot of these ways of life in my environment. And obviously I started expanding my way of thinking. I started seeing a lot of things, and I feel like I was able to change a lot in my life. So now that I'm in a position to kind of share that, and I feel like other people that are in the same situation as myself could take from my past and also see that there is a light and there's always a chance, without a doubt. And like I said, this story is definitely not just about people that have been incarcerated, right? It's just about anyone that in life in general, right, going through struggles, going through hard times, meeting other people, right, and just a way to pretty much take all these things and find a way to help that to uplift and benefit your life and give other people, right? Like from everyone could sharpen each other, right? Just like,
absolutely.
Steel sharpen steel. Same thing with human beings, right? We all can take from each other's like past experiences and find a way.
The Bible said in his eyes that iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron.
Right? So,
yes.
And this is so important because, you know, a lot of us have folks that have gone through the system.
Right.
You don't have to be the person who's watching, but it could be his brother, sister, or whatever, sons, daughter, whatever.
Right.
And they need to know that not because that they have gone through this legal system, their life is over.
Nah.
I mean, because some people, to be honest, Freddie, happens like that.
Yeah.
And once you've gone through a system, it just kind of went downhill.
Yeah.
But today's a different kind of show to see how you can get back on track and what it takes, man. Because it takes
it's a lot.
Because
it's not easy.
I want you to tell folks what it takes to get back after you've done 15 plus
over 15
years, right? So it's about who Freddie is, and I want this episode to really help the next kid, the next person out there.
Right. Yeah, without a doubt, and I think definitely being here, have the opportunity to kind of shed some light on the way that I changed my way of thinking and the way, like I said, because there's still, like I was telling you off camera, I was telling Leroy that there's definitely still. I still have a lot of friends that are still incarcerated. Some of these guys are good guys, some of these guys are talented, and there's obviously other guys that are very like dangerous people, right? And maybe hey, at the end of the day, like, you know, there's a reason why there is a prison system, right? It is, you know, sometimes people like do things and they're not meant to be in society, right? You know, and that's a terrible thing, but that's the reality of life. However, I think the majority of people just never had a chance, right? To see a different, to see that there is a better way. There is a way to elevate your way of moving, to elevate your way of articulating yourself, right? Because I was only taught to speak one way when I was younger, right? Which is like gang banged out, slanged out, right? That's the way I was taught to speak and come across. And as you know, like I told you, so I had to learn through other people that I met, through other avenues, right? That no, you know what? There's different forms of living. There's different ways of making money, right?
Exactly.
And like I said, man, because I was taught to make like what I thought was good money at that time a certain way, which was to hustle on the streets, right, by slanging drugs. When I was a kid, I was, you know, when I was young, I was like, you know, 11, 12 years old, man, I was taught how to steal stereos, you know what I mean, and rims and cars, right? So the only thing I was taught at a young age, man, and like I said, it's a shame because people that were teaching us, that's what they knew. Yeah, so they're betting.
So it's a cycle.
It's a cycle, without a doubt. So that's what we're doing right now. We're the cycle right now. We're the ones, same thing, right? So okay, it's a cycle. Right? So okay, now it's us. And now that I'm in a position where I'm doing better with my life, and I'm like, whoa, look, man, like I got gamed up, right? Someone shot me game. Okay, now I'm gonna do the same cycle spin, but our cycle spin is gonna be like, we're hitting with a different type of ingredients, right? Different type of detergent. We're gonna really come out fresh. You know what I mean?
Well, like I said, that's what you saw when you was growing up.
Yeah,
you didn't see anything else, so you don't. It's like you have blinders on. You know how to steal rims, and you knew how to steal a stereo in like 10 minutes. You're like, boom, boom, you're gone, right?
Feeling good.
So now that I'm going to get to that, and I know we're going to get to that.
Right.
But I still want no, Freddie. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. Now,
right.
You have some great art, man. So I want. Now you do this when you learned this since you was a kid, right?
I dabbled in it when I was young, without a doubt. Yeah.
And where did you sort of get it? I'm gonna say perfected. Was it when you was in prison, or
without a doubt?
I mean, you had time to do that.
Oh yeah, definitely. That's one thing. Like I said, I did. For people who don't know, I mentioned on the last podcast that I did close to 9 years of solitary confinement.
So, hold on, you heard what he just said. 9, and this is gonna come back because of the fact that he has done changed his life.
Yeah,
and 9 years of, I mean, that's a lot of time.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it was 9 years is a lot of time. Hey, to be honest, it's weird because when you're, it's crazy because like I said, to me, it was normal.
It was normal.
I swear, like when I went, I had to get used to when I went to, we call AdSay, solitary confinement. When I went there, of course, my first month, 2 months, I ain't gonna lie, I was like I was scared, man. And you know you're gonna be in a cell. It still was scary. You know what I mean? It's kind of even for like a prisoner that was, was there for a reason, for being gang active and things like that. I was nervous even going there, and so because it was like even solitary confinement is a different type of way of living than when you're on a regular prison yard, right? It's a whole different type of way of moving in there. So I definitely had to transition to that, right? And it took me about 2 months, 3 months. But once I got transitioned to solitary confinement, like I said, I got so used to it, and time went by fast there. Like I said,
well, see, that's all part of growing up.
Right.
You grew up with a certain mentality, so it's like that's what you know.
Yeah.
So you went
exactly.
to you went to Salt. We can hit her herself.
Okay.
Tell me about your painting.
So,
but I want you to come back and tell me about the cells in confinement.
Yeah.
I want
first thing
because of the fact that we were recapping.
Right.
I want to be able to show folks how you have changed your lifestyle.
Right.
And what you showed us the last time, and if you haven't, you can always go back and watch this.
See more of the artwork.
So tell us about how you perfected this painting.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. This painting.
Drawing. Yeah.
Well, it's a drawing, not a painting. It's a drawing.
Yeah. So one thing about drawing, painting, there's never you don't ever really reach your full potential in drawing. You always pick up more and more every time. So that's one thing that I think that's the great thing about painters, right? Because it's imagination is a big aspect, right? Big component of doing. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Imagination, creativity, right? So that's a big component of drawing, being artistic. So you can never, you could be in search of it, right? To be perfect, right? But I don't even think Michelangelo. I doubt he would even say he ever perfect. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Van Gogh, all of them, right? They're always self-conscious, right? But because it's a lot of people, you don't know if people are going to understand what you're doing, right? They're going to understand the meaning. So I don't think you're really you're perfected. However, like you were mentioning, right? So being incarcerated, and being having a lot of time to work on these things like that. So it definitely was an escape, right? It gave you something to do. And like I said, it was also a hustle in being incarcerated as well. It was a hustle to draw for people, their families, right? They want some
so you made money in this?
Oh, without a doubt, yes,
really?
Without a doubt, and that's what I'm saying. So, and that's why, like I said, now given the opportunity, being out here now, right, being in the position that I'm in. Sorry, it's live, live podcast. Sometimes things happen like that. We'll get it right, sometimes things in a row. We keep flowing though. But so I was saying that in there, yes, people will sell art drawings for people need it for their families, for them. They might want it for themselves, right? So now that I'm out here and I got a chance to meet you and see your real estate business, the way you move, the way you make money, okay, that inspired me, right? Okay, I see this guy's hustling, man. He has a nice suit on, the hat. How can I elevate my way of moving and continue to hustle with you and the Mills Social Talks podcast, man? Much love to this guy and his hustle, right? And so I figured, myself as well, okay, well, how do I get how we're drawing in there? And this right here is actually this right here. Yeah, so this is my boy Teto right here, man. He's actually in he's in a pretty high security prison right now, right?
This guy,
this is a good friend of mine, man. This guy, he's a Sureni, right? He's a gang member, right? But he's also been changed a lot of his life, man, and he's grown. And now, like I said, now he's trying to support his family. He's trying, to change his ways. He's trying to. This guy, like I said, so he's been making money off these drawings right here. And honestly, what's crazy about this, right? So I sold a few of his drawings on Facebook, right? And with that money, you know what he wanted to do with some of that money? He told me to donate some of that money to the St. Jude .org website, man. So I sent the money for him a few days ago. I sent him a photo of it showing hey, look, this is under your name, man, because you want it, right? Because he had people that been through cancer, so that's something he wanted to do out of his heart, man. I was so proud of this guy, man. Like I said, I met this guy when I was in my mid-20s. And what's very absurd about this whole situation is that this guy was actually from a rival gang
of yours,
of mine. And the only reason that we got to be have a relationship because of solitary confinement, because you can't fight people in there, you're forced to live with people and talk to them. So that's how we started.
But it's not only that, it's the fact that you never really knew him.
No,
and he never knew you.
Exactly.
It's only the perception of what you guys thought of each other. You on one side of the block, he's on the other side of the block.
Right.
And you perceived him to be your enemy without a conversation.
Without even knowing, exactly.
Without knowing, without a conversation.
Yeah.
And that's why you guys kind of was gang banging,
we're
right?
We're more similar than you know what I mean? Without a doubt. That's what we're figuring out. Yeah. Absolutely. We share more similar bonds and
that's the reason why, sometimes there's so much fighting, because people don't get to understand each other.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And if I don't understand you, understand me, it's like, okay, we're at war. Why? Why don't we just talk about it?
Right.
Yeah. So same, and we're still in the front end of this conversation.
Yeah, I know.
But the thing is, now you look at this, your friend,
Right.
in confinement.
Manuel Jerez, man. Look him up on Instagram. Manuel Jerez, man.
All right, man.
He's good artist, man. Anything customized, we got you guys.
So the point is, and that comes back to your growing up, his growing up, and that, I mean, you guys could have been artists years ago before going to prison, right?
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
But is there you brought in any?
So no, I mean, like I said, this is just this is mine right here. I drew that up. I mean, like I love doing calligraphy, man. I've always loved like lettering, and so this is the brand Stilo, man. Stilo. So that means style, fashion, personality. It means swag, drip, flavor. That's all in one. Stilo, man. That's what that represents. And I'm a big believer in like we're talking, right? I'm a big believer in you never conform to any type of situation that you're in, right? So when I was incarcerated, I did, over 15 hours my whole life, right? So I became a man there, and I never, bro, said I'm a convict, I'm an inmate, I'm a felon. I was like, no, I'm not ever gonna say.
You never told yourself that?
I never conformed, no, because I was like I said, man, I was fortunate to run into people that kind of dropped a little something in my ear, right? Like, hey, man, look, you do this, you do that, right? So I was like, I'm never gonna conform to any type of stereotype or any type of way that people believe that you should be living, right? So that's what that means. It means to fashion your own image, right? Everyone has their own style, everyone has their own way of speaking and treating people. So that's all that represents, man. It's a reputation of yourself and your own, like I said, man, your own drink, your own flavor. And I'm like I said, I'm a big believer that we all should help each other, but at the same time, like, you got to bring, some of yourself to the table as well.
I like what you said. I love what you said just now. Even though you were in solitary confinement, you never conformed. Yeah. Your mentality never said that I am a total inmate. Yeah, that's who I am. Yeah. And that's the life of, because you were probably just always looking forward to when you get out of there. How am I going to change my life?
Man.
So
I mean, to be honest, no. No.
But the fact that you said you never conformed,
it's crazy.
I'm like,
well, because I just didn't want to be like I said, man. I just didn't want to be. I didn't want to sound the same like everybody else, right? So maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just the way I was wired.
But it's a great thing.
But without a doubt, like, so being incarcerated so young and having so much time ahead of me, to be honest, like my first 10 years, I never thought about, I'm going home because I was like, I'm here for a long time, so just get comfortable.
So you never?
No. I said, in a way, I said, I know one day I'm going home, God willing, because in there's times where you could lose your whole life. I got friends of mine that literally had 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, and now they have a life sentence because there's so many things that happen. They're so volatile in there that anything could happen any day, right? There's so much violence, things like that, where you get more time. Like I told you, I went to solitary confinement, and I caught a prison case in there as well. They tried to give me a case for hustling in there as well. They tried to hit me with 2 cases in there, right? And that's what I'm saying. Yeah, 2 different cases while I was incarcerated, right? So that's why I said it's a blessing that I had an opportunity to come home, that I had an opportunity to get all this knowledge, right, and share it in a different type of way now. Because I could have lost it, right? I could have lost it in there using that knowledge I got and directing it in the wrong way. And I could have been incarcerated. Because there's a lot of things you could learn in there to make money, right? To look good, to be the top dog in there. But guess what? In the day, it's fool's gold, right? It's going to get you stuck in that things. And you're not going to be able to help anybody, right? So that's why I tell my boys that are in there, look, I'm going to be that outlet for you guys, man. I'm going to be that connection for you guys. If you guys are trying to draw like me, and y'all trying to promote, try to promote fashion, and y'all try to promote Stilo, then let's go. Let's do it. We could make, we could put out, material that I think people will love, because I think our style is I feel like we come through kind of shining like a brand new gold chain. I swear to God. You know what I mean? I feel like we come through stunned, we look good, and we have a different way of carrying ourselves. So I think, why not share that, with the world, right? And be like, hey, we're not just people that are trying to rob people and be thugged out. Nah, man. Yes, we come from a certain place, right, which gives us a little more like a different type of character, different type of personality. So I said, let's share that in a different type of way. Where you, like I told you, the last time, man, hey, we're trying to come through and making good money, right, having nice things, but in the right type of way. And like I shared, and like I said, spread it, man, spread it. Like you said, the cycle thing, right?
Yeah, but I understand that you had a shift in mentality, right? So you had a shift from when you was a kid, right, to now. Yeah. In that, and I talk about this sometimes. Is that instead of that person on the street, you're selling whatever you're doing, and you're hustling illegally.
Right.
Why not put that into a positive thing where you're within the law?
Right.
And I think that's a great shift that you've made. And maybe you were not projecting that before you came out, but that's what you did.
Yeah.
You know, you're like
I would definitely say, right, like because I'm 36 now, so I definitely say when I hit like my 30s, right, that I start definitely having a change of thought as far as, like you said, trying to transition. Okay, like how am I going to now transition this type of way of making money to when I'm released to society, right? So I definitely did think about that towards the end of my sentence.
Okay.
And like I said, luckily I was able to make it there where I can still have those thoughts, right? Because some people, they get cut off. That process because they're like, well, I'm not ever going to be there, so why am I going to put in my mind go there, right? So I was able to actually let myself go there, and I knew in my heart, that's, you know what, I said, I'm a hustler, man. I said, I work hard, man. I feel like I'm a good visionary. I said, why can't I make this money when I go home, right? Why do I have to be like work maintenance or this or that? Like, why do I have to be construction? I can do other things, you know what I mean? I don't have to work in a factory, you know, and this and that. So I feel like there's definitely a lot of people that have a lot of different type of skill sets, right? And I think it's a lot about networking, right? Connections, right? Sometimes people from our community don't have the best connections, and that's why I love obviously how you met me. Look how we met, right? You met me because I was giving a speech one day. And you're like, hey, I like your story, man. I like your charisma. And you told me what you do. I'm like, whoa, that's amazing too, man. You in a certain part of the neighborhood, trying to help out people that could use the help, right? Put them in position later on to maybe their seed could be in a better spot than us, right?
Well, I'm glad we're here because I like your shift in vision,
right?
As you listen, you see where he was, where he went, how he came out, and so that's sort of Freddy, and I love this. That's why I wanted to tell this story because many families are in the same position,
right?
And I want this to really help. Now, I want to shift a little bit to you. So tell me, we know still. By the way, in case they want to connect with you, I mean, they can. You guys can connect us at the Mill Social Talk podcast. We will connect you with Freddy.
Yeah,
you can wherever you can do that. Or Freddy, tell them where you want.
So my IG is Escobar Estilo. So Escobar Escobar, and then Estilo, right? So definitely hit me up on IG. Like I said, if anyone out there wants some hoodies, like my boy, like I said, one of my good friends Nehemiah, he just did a pattern for a hoodie right now. It's out there right now, so definitely connect with me on IG. I'm gonna have I'll have some of the drawings we have, and if you guys want like t-shirts, hats, whatever it is, right, you can customize them. If you want like a certain different type of slogan on there, different logo, whatever, different type of saying, we could definitely do it for you guys. And like I said, so when it comes to clothing, right? We got that. Also, like I said, if you guys, I write poetry as well. So someone needs like some poems, whatever you want to hear poems about, like just life in general. I don't got to be like a poem that's directed like for balance. It could be something in general, just about life, right? So we have a lot of content right there. So definitely hit me up on Escobar Estilo, man. Then of course my Facebook, Freddy Martinez de Escobar. Definitely reach out to me there. And definitely hear back. Some comments, some feedback.
Once you get feedback on if you're listening, please. This is so important. You share this YouTube video. It's important that you subscribe to us and you like us, man. Yeah. So Freddy,
support the hustle, baby. Support the dream. Support the passion, without a doubt.
So tell me a little bit about why. I mean, I want you to dig deep and tell me and say, why did you actually decide to change your life?
Man,
give me that light bulb that says, that turns on.
Right. Man, I would say so. I think there's a few things that influenced like me to changing my life. And as far as, like I said, it always comes back to the thing where I feel like I was raised, like I said, by a single mom, right? And my mom definitely, she was a hustler, bro. Like my mom's, immigrant as well from El Salvador, and she came out to LA, to California, man, and she was a hustler, bro. Like she killed it out. I said she was a single mom later on, right?
But
so,
is there a light bulb? Okay.
Well, so what I was going to say is that like
a light bulb, a person, an event,
right.
That says, "Oops."
I mean, so what I was getting to was that I feel like my mom instilled a lot of good things in me, right?
Okay.
So that's what I'm saying. I never felt like I was like I just want to be a gangster, right? I'm just living that way, right? I never, like I told you, I always felt like I was like came out a little bit different, wired a little bit differently, where I never like got consumed by one way of living, right? I just got involved with the wrong things. So I feel like as I just grew up and became a man, right?
Mm-hmm.
I evolved. I don't think there was a distant moment. I just think it was about growth, right? And me hitting different stages in my life. Like when I hit my like 23 years old, I changed from when I was 19 years old, right?
Right.
So it wasn't, I wouldn't say it was never like one moment. I just think it was a combination of meeting different people, right?
Okay.
And not just that, of looking back at my life. And like I said, I used to play basketball when I was younger as well. Mm-hmm. And when I played basketball, I got to go to different, meet up with different families that were on my team, right? These families live so different from me. And I was like, wow. So I looked back on that, like, hold up. Like, there's definitely a different way of living, right? And a more productive way of living for all of us, not just for whites or blacks, but for everybody, right?
So you understood that, okay, this is my life, and what I'm trying to get to, if it's maybe when you were incarcerated,
right?
If you sit back and you realize, when I was a kid, I went to John, Joe, and Millie's house,
right?
And they live differently.
Yeah.
And maybe, I don't know if that's one of the things, and that's what I'm trying to figure out. There's that one thing that you say, you're saying it's a combination of things. But sometimes there's that one person that gives you a word.
Right.
And I'm just kind of wondering if that was it.
Yeah. Man, like I said, I think my whole life I've always been, if I see something, I've been inspired by so many different things, right? That's what I'm saying. Like, I just think being incarcerated, right? I'll say that. Of course, that I didn't want that to be my life. I'll say that, right? So I'll say just being incarcerated, man, I don't want this for me.
That's what I'm saying. You're aware of that.
Yeah. So
you don't want to live this life forever.
So I think, like I said, I think it took me a while, right? To be honest, it took me a while to realize how me not wanting to be in prison, how to really implement that into my way of living. Because when I was in there, I was still living on like a criminal level in a way, right?
Okay.
And I say an outlaw type of level, right? So as I grew up, I said, okay, I know I'm thinking differently now, but how do I implement that into the way that I carry myself in everyday life, right? So that took a while to get to mature, right, to that level where I could do that while I'm in prison. Because that's a hard thing to do.
And we don't have a lot of time, but the thing you just said, implement. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants to do something. How do we implement? And maybe that's what I want to get into. How did you implement your lifestyle?
Right. So, man, that's not. It's definitely not an easy thing to do. You know what? Not just in there, but even out here, right? To implement these things, right? So, like for me, man, to be honest, it took just mental creation, without a doubt, right? Saying these things in my head, right? Okay, I'm gonna be this person, I'm gonna do this, and then man, just having talk.
So I'm gonna start. Quick question: Did you actually say A, B, C, D first, or you just kind of roll with the punches, knowing mentally, listen, I'm not gonna go back to the criminal justice system? Did you? Or did you say, you know what, when I get out, man, no matter what, I am not going. You know what, Freddy? We got a minute left,
right?
So, guys, we're going to continue this conversation next week. But I knew you want to hear Freddy continue this conversation because this is a very important conversation. Right. This is the Mill Social Talk podcast. You can subscribe wherever you listen to it. Subscribe, you like, you share wherever you listen to the Mill Social Talk. So, guys, we're going to come back next week. We're going to continue this conversation because I'm not ready to give it. We're not ready to finish this conversation yet. So, again, this is Leroy Mills Realty, millsreal.com. You guys can always go to our website and leave us a comment. Please leave us a comment. Let us know how you're enjoying the conversation. Leave us a comment. Let us know. And if you have any questions for Freddy, you can connect with him, or you can go to millsreal.com. Send us a message. We will connect you with Freddy. But again, guys, until the next podcast, this is the Mill Social Talk Podcast, and we'll see you soon. Please come back next week for the next episode as we continue the conversation.